Hey, what's up guys? Optipersona again here, hitting you up with another Breakaway Alpha video, and this one is going to be pretty quick. I'm just going through the available heroes as of the alpha right now, just to kind of showcase them a little bit. Not going to be playing any right now, but just kind of going through them, their roles, and reading their ability tooltips for you guys interested. And then after this I'll post some in-game footage of a couple of my favorites. And yeah, let's get started. So this is Spartacus, who we used in the tutorial. Melee fighter. His abilities are pretty basic. They also each have their own unique set of deployables, so that adds another layer of strategy when you're team building here. Difficulty is 1 star. Primary attack, left click, 2-hit melee attack, pretty basic stuff, right? His defensive right click is a short-range invulnerable defensive slide. His Q is no retreat, a quick dash attack, good for closing distance. Glory is a strong 3-hit combo with super armor, that's his E, which ends with a powerful kick. And if you guys don't know what super armor is, it's a term usually used in a lot of fighting games or action games. Basically means that while you're in super armor frames, you can't be interrupted. Now it varies between games if you get damaged during it or not, but even if you do get damaged, it doesn't interrupt your momentum. I'm thinking maybe in this game, super armor just means he doesn't get damaged, but we'll have to set in game. And then retribution is the ult, which is a powerful 2-hit combo which launches opponents into the air before slamming them back to the ground. Now his 2 deployables are the fire catapult, which we saw in the tutorial again, launches incendiary projectiles, good for clearing buildables, and the ramp quickly launches the user a good distance horizontally. I believe, as far as most heroes go, their first deployable is usually very basic, like for attacking, and then 2 is more utility based. Alright, Thorgrim was also in the tutorial as a dummy that we had to evade a couple of times. Melee tank, 1-star difficulty as well. So here we've got a left click, basic attack. Y'all know the deal by now. His defensive ability here, though, is not a dodge, but armor up, which grants temporary invulnerability while knocking back any opponent who attacks. His Q is rib splitter, spinning attack, which knocks back opponents and projectiles, which is kind of cool. Pretty short cooldown on that too, so that's a very good offensive and defensive hybrid ability. Ram's head is Q, quick lunging attack, where Thorgrim flips an opponent up and over his head. So if I'm reading this right, it sounds kind of like a volley bear Q flip, if you guys are familiar with League of Legends. And his R, pretty short cooldown compared to Spartacus's R, which was 30. Thor's is 20. It's a powerful area of effect attack which deals damage and launches any nearby opponents in range. And here we have his deployables. Demolition Hammer creates shockwaves that knocks away nearby enemies and damages the buildables. So again, basic offensive buildable here. And we've got a wall, which is a sturdy defensive buildable used to block paths or reinforce positions. I think based on the wall alone and the fact that he's a tank, I believe Thor will definitely be a must pick on a team. I feel like the wall is just offers way too much utility to not have on your team. Alright, and Bonny, our first ranged character. Max difficulty here, so definitely not for those looking to ease into the game right away. Definitely recommend one of the melee characters, but left click, single shot from a rifle, basic stuff. Right click is the dodge roll, which is similar to Spartacus's right click. You dodge, you're immune during the frames of the dodge. Q is a sniper shot, very quick and long range shot, which deals good damage and knockback. Her E, sizable cooldown on that. It's a secondary escape ability, so I can see why. Musket jump shoots the ground at her feet, launching her into the air while knocking back nearby opponents. And her ultimate is Hullbuster, a powerful cannon blast which deals damage and knocks back all opponents in its path. Now here they kind of switch it up on me. So her trampoline is actually the utility buildable here, which launches characters high into the air, allowing them to jump over obstacles. And the ballista is the basic projectile buildable. Cannot target opponents at close range though, so keep that in mind when you're positioning that.
Alona.
Here we have Alona, which is our first support character here. Focused on healing. 2-star for difficulty here. Primary attack, ranged. Flies toward the reticule, basic stuff. Her Q is a quick... Sorry, not Q. Her right click. Sun's Grace is a quick, short-range teleport. And she's invulnerable during the transition. Radiance is her Q. Targets a nearby enemy teammate and heals them over time while they're within range. Sunburst is the E, an explosion of energy which damages and knocks back any opponent within range. So it's kind of a backup off me move. If you're cornered by some enemies, you're the support, you need to keep yourself alive, you know what I'm saying? So save that Sunburst. And Blessing of the Sun. Powerful area of effect heal, which affects all teammates within range, including herself. And her deployables: Sunshrine, defensive buildable, which heals nearby teammates over time. And then we've got the Light of Judgment, which is a mirror which targets the nearest enemy and deals damage, which scales up over time.
Rawlins.
Now here we've got our second shooter, which is Rawlins, who, now the difference between him and Bonny is that Bonny doesn't really get into the fray. She's more of a sniper type character. Rawlins is kind of like your close range duelist shooter, if that makes sense. Let's get into it. Primary attack, left click, 2 quick pistol shots, and he can move while firing. Now this is huge. Like, he's very mobile because he can shoot while firing. Bonny, when she shoots, she's rooted basically while the shot goes off. Huge difference in mobility. You definitely don't want to be in the middle of things and because of that, Rawlins just doesn't care. He straight up just kites people. Double down is his defensive roll, the short cooldown timer, and 2 charges. So he's crazy mobile. Think of McCree basically in Overwatch. His Q is a power shot, a strong double shot which deals good damage and knockback. E is a slide shot, quick short range slide which launches an opponent into the air and allows for follow up. And the ult, Blazing Barrage. Rawlins pulls out both pistols, standing in place, and unleashes a rapid fire hail of bullets. Now he's got some pretty interesting buildables here. Barrel Dispenser, which rolls out explosive barrels in a straight line. So they kind of like some Donkey Kong style barrels just rolling straight at you. You can jump over it. Just kind of adds a little extra element of chaos to the map. And the jail, which an opponent who makes contact with the jail is locked up and must break the jail to get free. Now that's pretty interesting right there. Here's our second support. Pretty badass looking, not gonna lie. I love the witch motif in most games. 3-star support, so she's on paper supposed to be harder than Alona here. Anyway, let's get right into it with her. She has a projectile that deals damage and reduces opponent's armor for a short period of time. Flock is her defensive right click. Morgan becomes intangible and can fly horizontally for a short period of time. Burden of Sin, which is her Q, is a projectile which passes through multiple opponents, dealing damage and slowing them. Her E is Circle of Spite, places a cursed hex on the ground, slowing any opponent within and increasing the damage they take by 35%. Now this is going to be huge in team fights right there. Aura of Silence is another great team fight ability, which is her ult. Damages and silences all nearby enemies, preventing them from using their abilities for 5 seconds. It's going to be huge. Now, getting into her deployables here. Older Stone accumulates energy as nearby characters take damage and triggers an explosion after sufficiently charged. So you want to pop that in. Maybe, it seems like you want to use this in a team fight almost. I'm not sure how quickly it charges, but definitely very team fight oriented chick right here. Tome of Frailty targets the nearest enemy and reduces their attack strength until they move out of range. Very debuff heavy, very good support to have. I think she'd definitely be one of the essential picks, which is weird to say because we don't have many characters, but I feel like she'll definitely be an essential pick on most teams right now. Now the Black Knight is the other melee tank. They both have 1 star for difficulty, so it's up to you which you want to go with. Kind of getting a Reinhardt vibe here. Left click is a wide sweeping attack that's capable of hitting multiple opponents, so kind of like Reinhardt's left click. Huge swinging attack. People are bunched up, you can just cleave them down. His Q, temporary, I'm sorry, again I keep messing these up. His right click, defensive ability, is a temporary armor boost and triggers an explosion after a brief period of time. That sounds interesting. His Q is a very heavy overhead attack that deals great damage and causes knockback. Cruel summons his E, a quick forward lunging attack which pulls an opponent in. And his ult, Walk of Iron, creates an area of thorns on the ground and pulls them in, damaging and pulling opponents towards him. That's pretty cool. He's got a siege engine deployable, which once placed moves forward in a line, dealing heavy damage to any buildables in its path. And the spike trap is a floor trap triggered in a rhythm, which damages and knocks back any opponent struck. Interesting. And our final character here is, I believe he's the only one of his type, a ranged nuker. So I'm guessing that's the closest you get to a mage in this game so far, besides Morgan, but she's a support, so this is kind of like your offensive caster, for lack of a better comparison. Anyway, his left click is a projectile which flies in an arc and has an AoE impact. Okay, interesting. His defensive ability, right click, is shock field. Stationary shield, which knocks opponents back and absorbs incoming projectiles. That's going to be pretty crucial in team fights right there. Static burst is an AoE projectile that applies static charge, which explodes after any follow-up attack. Wild Arc, a bolt of electricity which bounces between enemies and buildables, bouncing up to 3 times. And his ult, the Maelstrom, is a series of lightning strikes in an area in front of him that strikes 4 times, targeting opponents and buildables. So a lot of good AoE on this kit right here. Jacob's Ladder, I like that reference for his buildable right here. Arcing rods of electricity which blast any nearby jumping opponent. Turbine, a powerful engine which emits timed pulses of electricity which can stun opponents if they do not jump over them. Alright, that was quite a mouthful from me, but there you have it. Those are the current heroes as of right now. We've got 8, pretty varied, lots of personality in them so far. Digging the roster, and yeah, I will showcase a couple of matches after this video then. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you on the next one.